Welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz. And of course, it could not be Seahawkers What If. We could not traverse the Seahawks multiverse without the protector of the Seahawks multiverse, and that is Mr. Phil Leidick. Before we get going, hey, if you're out there on YouTube, if you're out there with your ears, with your hearts, with your minds, do us a couple of favors. YouTube.com/Seahawkers podcast. Hit subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell, and wherever you get audio, just subscribe. Just search Seahawks podcast or Seahawkers podcast. It'll come up. 5 shows a week. It's in your ears. We're in your hearts, and it's by 12's 412. So, gentlemen, in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls, a 1-0 United States men's national team victory, vaulting us into the Sweet 16. Can our Seahawks get off the schneid and play some defense when it matters, like the U.S. soccer team did? Brandon, before we kick it to Mr. Phil, who's probably the bigger soccer fan here, what did you enjoy the U.S. men's national team?
Certainly.
Yeah, I think he is. Did you enjoy the victory over Iran?
Yes, it was a fun watch. I was nervous for a good portion of it, despite not knowing much about soccer at all. It seemed intense toward the end, and maybe that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it just grows and grows in intensity. I didn't like how he finished out the match. I don't think a lot of our U.S. fans liked how the coach decided to finish out the match, but it worked. So I like the result, and that's what's most important.
Playing prevent defense at the worst possible time when offensively they'd played so well most of the game.
But I am hoping that we could hearken some of that good defense.
Yes,
not prevents. Because I don't know if you guys remember, our defense didn't really show up last week versus the Raiders. We talked
I don't remember
about it.
Defense. Was there any defense in that game?
Not a lot. We need that. Now, the nice part about this show is we're no longer looking. We're no longer looking back at the Seahawks. However, we do a look back that we call Previously with the Protector. The 2-minute clock is on. Mr. Phil, KC played the Rams.
That's right.
I didn't watch a lot. It just looked a little sloppy, but I want to know about it. What'd you see?
It was not a fun watch, really. I mean, I felt like I was doing work to go through that 40 minutes, even on the condensed version. But their overall team struggles a lot. They're 27th by DVOA. They've lost 5 in a row. They have the 3rd worst record, which if you're a Lions fan, that's a big yay, right? Because they've got their pick. Offense, not good at much without Cooper Kupp. They really don't have anything now. I want to say they're 127th by DVOA on their offense, but there's not 127 teams. But they are 27th. Perkins, the quarterback in there, reminds me a little bit of Seneca Wallace. You can expect, if he plays, which I think it's likely, expect several design runs. He's shifty, has good balance, and he can sometimes throw on the run as well, but I don't think he sees the field. The pass protection of their team is brutal. They're so banged up. Akers actually had a couple of okay runs. That doesn't say well for the Chiefs, but our team seems to be able to let anybody run lately. Overall, the Rams had 3.6 yards per play, and I guess that wasn't even really unique to this game. That's pretty much whenever Kupp doesn't play. That includes passing plays. That's not just running plays, 3.6. They did have a couple of okay plays when they did max protect, where basically Perkins just says, look for this one dude and we're going to have everybody else block. Their running game seemed to get worse as the game went on instead of better. Their special teams is 29th by DVOA, but this was maybe one of their better games, at least by luck. The defense is 16th by DVOA, so they're pretty mediocre. Of course, they're losing maybe one of the best players in the history of the NFL, so that's going to drop. The Chiefs actually were running on them early. The pressure was consistent by one Mr. Aaron Donald early. Ramsey got toasted once by Kelsey. Throws back to the backs were really effective, I thought, against them. They ran a ton of man D, so Mahomes, anytime he wanted to run, it was there because the Rams were running man a lot. Ramsey did have a big goal line PBU, and then his teammate, who's one of the worst safeties in football, Scott, did get a pick after that. So Mahomes got picked. Wabi Bagner had a couple of big hits, a nice swat down. They had a really dumb late hit by their defense that pretty much ended the team's hopes. The result, They were completely outclassed in this game. It looked like they knew it. Also, this team seems to have zero camaraderie right now. They desperately miss Cooper Kupp in every kind of way, as his team leadership, his skills. They all look like they're alone, feeling bad for themselves. I don't know if you guys had anything to add on that.
I did not watch any of the Rams-Chiefs game, and so this was all news to me. But again, like you said, it was work. I had no interest in watching second-string Rams players play on either side of the football, nor interest in seeing what Wobby Bagner, is that what we're calling him, in a Rams uniform. That just
45.
I've been putting it off till this point. I don't want to see it, and now I'm going to be forced to watch it this week.
Do we wear a Wagner jersey this game?
I think it was like Captain Seahawk, right? Is that his name? The guy with the big headdress, the famous dude. He actually put that on Twitter. He's going to the game.
I've sat by him before. He's pretty.
I think he goes to all the games. Yeah. Oh, cool. And he held up a Wagner. It was actually a Wagner Seahawks throwback jersey that he owned. So like a 1990s. Throwback Wagner.
Like Earl
jersey.
Thomas as a rookie jersey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That terrible one.
No, not the terrible one.
It was the back from like Dave Craig days. Okay.
He had the royal blue Dave Craig, style Wagner jersey, and he put it up on Twitter and said, should I wear this to SoFi? I think he got a resounding yes, because it's a throwback Wagner jersry and whatever. He's
going to be on TV for sure. Anyway, yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. He'll be on TV. He will be. The only things for me is as we proceed into this week's is that I don't know about you guys. I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
That's terrible. It's only because it's the Lambs, right?
No,
because we should not be nervous. This football team is not good. But that's
why I'm nervous. I agree. I'm just still, I look across our line. We don't have a Chris Jones. We don't have the ability to. We have not been creating pressure. I just, for the life of me, have this haunting feeling. I'm not saying we lose. I have a haunting feeling that we just simply allow this team to stick because they have done it to us before.
If we don't pressure this team, pack it up, forget it. The pass rush is garbage. I'm already disappointed lately, but I mean, if we can't pass rush against these like joke Band-Aid and toothpick offensive line, I'm gonna give up and start just cheering for both of our draft picks. I think
I did see some of that on Twitter this week, and I'm fighting against that fight. But nothing matters anymore. I'm like no, just stop. We're 6-5, and the Commanders and Giants got to play each other twice, and they have tough schedules. We easily could get into the 7-6 still, and if you get in, you get in. I mean, whatever, right? So I'm still, pedal to the metal, Thelma and Louise. Let's go off this cliff together.
We should be still, yeah.
Yeah, well, and let's go win this freaking week. So Mr. Phil, take us into this week. I know you got something special served up again. The people seem to like it, and we appreciate when you do it.
All right. So this week, wild sheep, they're pretty resilient out in the elements. They're fun to see, but domestic sheep are far more vulnerable, especially if they get lost. Those poor, sad lambs have lost 5 straight, and we hope to keep them hopelessly lost this week, even in their own home. Lost at home. Can they still be lost? They have been. As we ask this week, what if, like Bo Peep, Mr. McVay has lost his sheep? And it's episode 40, which means Clinton gets to have the first reveal this week. We have the questions as you're just listening on a podcast, bad or starve. So these are things that happen with a lost sheep out there. They can starve. Injuries are a danger for lost sheep. They can get trapped, in the thicket. Wolves can come get them. They need their shepherd to find them. A sheepdog could be helpful in finding them. And then counting, when you're asleep, you count the sheep as they jump back into the fence. So here you go, Clinton. Pick one of the 8 and reveal your question.
Nice. Beautiful, beautiful themiology there, Phil. Thank you so much. So when you talked about can a sheep get lost at home? I thought of poor Kevin McAllister being lost at home and home alone, right? He was lost at home in that way.
Kevin.
And that reminds me of the wet bandits. And that's the folks trying to attack them in their home, which reminds me of the wolves. I'm going wolves. Those are the wet bandits on the board. 'Tis the season. Let's rock and roll.
That was a lot of connections there.
A long way to get there.
What position on our team can be the wolves and really eat in this matchup? Clinton, what if we have some wolf hawks out there on Sunday? What position group can eat? these lumps?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to answer this as if I'm Pete Carroll, because I could say what I want to say, but I'd rather portray what I believe our head coach is going to do and say. I think Pete is going to view this as an overtly good opportunity, if those words make sense together, to regain the run game, to reestablish our run game. And of course, the other side of the ball too, for the mirror of that. However, I'll stick with us and our ability to run. I mentioned being scared earlier. I'm a little scared that we do that and we kind of over tilt to it. And I think Pete's going to make it a point to be like, we need to be able to run the ball in order to, slow teams down and just kind of practice that versus what is a bad Rams team at this point.
Don't be scared of lambs. Don't be scared of little sheep there.
I hear you, but I'm a little trepidatious at this point. With that, interior line, the run game, the pull and pin, things we haven't seen in a number of weeks that I think we need to, maybe 13 personnel back out there and running the ball with 13 personnel. That is what I think we're gonna eat and reestablish.
How about you, Brandon? Follow up to this one before you pick your next selection. What position group can be Wolves this week?
I want to say, along with that, I think tight ends could be a position that could eat, just because, I remember Bobby Wagner in coverage, and Oof. He's having a good year, but I think that our tight ends, and he would be their best linebacker, obviously. I think with having them on the field, we've just seen so much success, and they'd be able to help out in the blocking game. But then when they decide to throw off of those tight end sets, that's where I think that we could see some success too.
Very good. Very good. How about your next category then, Brandon?
I'm going to go with bad.
Bad. This will get right to the heart of what's going on, what I think we're hoping to see here, to learn about a little bit. Brandon, what if the Hawks' bad of late defense can keep the Lambs' bad of late offense looking hopeless? What will have been the key? Bad versus bad.
There's a couple different ways I could take this. To me, they don't have guys. Cooper Kupp is out. Allen Robinson is out with an injury. So I don't really feel like the Seahawks need to concern themselves that much with the passing game, especially with Perkins at quarterback. Now, I like Clinton. I think about the past seasons when we face backup quarterbacks like Colt McCoy, and somehow we make them look magical, and when they're really not at all. So I have that concern. But to me, if I could stop one thing, it would be to stop the running game. And because if that goes for them, they can build off that. And one of the things that I've noticed just from the Seahawks in general this season, Seattle's 6-0 when they hold the opposing team to 145 rushing yards or less.
Wow, that's a low bar, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's still a lot of yards. Yeah.
It's still
I'm sure
a lot
Pete
of yards.
agrees with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure Pete agrees with you. We got to stop it.
The Rams have one game, and that was against the Saints, where they rushed for 148 yards. That was their highest total of the season. And part of that was because Perkins came in relief and helped get them up over that 145 number. So I hold them in the running game.
That'll be key. Hold them in the running. I'm sure Pete agrees. You got something else to add to that, Clinton? Or do you just completely agree?
I think just an addition to that, the sidecar is that if it is Perkins or Wolford, they both can run the ball. And as Brandon just alluded to, that's how they got over that marker against the Saints, was that Perkins came in and he does run the ball a decent amount. I want the listeners and folks to think about, like, not just stopping Cam Akers or just stopping, what's the rookie's name? It's Kyron Williams. Yep, yeah. Kyron Williams, or Ronnie Rivers if he's in. So not just stopping those dudes, not exactly murderers row of running backs, but bad. really containing.
They tried to trade Akers and nobody wanted him, but he looked okay in the last game.
So it just also contains containing the quarterback from running, because I think that's what can do a lot of damage and move the chain. In addition to that, I do think that the mirror side of my first message was about we could be Wolves to reestablish the run and inside blocking schemes, et cetera, et cetera. I think we're going to over tilt the world over here to be like, whatever we do, the run's not beating us. I think we'll overfit for a run defense this week. So I expect them to stop the run. And we saw that we kind of got exposed, and Pete talks about that, where we kind of over leaned into, worrying about Devontae Adams.
Doubling Devontae all match. Yeah.
At the exposure, at the unfortunate consequence of opening things up for holes for Jacobs to rumble through. So I think we'll do the exact opposite of that. In addition to that, I'll say very quickly, that's fine. These are still pro players, and they have some possession guys. Like, was it Ben? How do you say his name? Skowronek. I don't know exactly, but he's a possession guy, right? Kupp goes down. Skowronek bends in there. Yeah, Skowronek. He's getting lots of targets. He can move the chains. So the quick addition is we also have to get somebody, whether it's Nwosu, maybe it's Taylor shows back up. We need somebody to play the Chris Jones role. I know that's a tall friggin' order because we don't have a Chris Jones, but we need somebody to fire things back up there
right now.
Yeah, he's probably the best in the league at this point. With that, we got to get some pressure when they're in obvious passing downs. We get them to 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 12s, then we just can't let them escape with dink and dunks where they move the chain somehow, some way. It'll kill me. It'll kill me.
We've got 6 more things on the board, Clinton, and I feel like you've entirely spent your strategy here.
I talked a lot.
Bad.
I'm done.
Although I do want to do maybe at least 5 more minutes of trying to pronounce Skowronek's name.
Skowronek, yeah. Skowronek.
Well, at least the announcers get to try it on Sunday, so we'll leave it to them. Now, where are we going next? Clint?
All right, I'm feeling this way. Trapped. Let's go.
Okay, so a lost sheep out there can get trapped. They can get trapped. What if, Clinton, our defense can keep Perkins or Wolford or maybe from moving around successfully? Does anything else from this offense worry you? So now we trap Perkins from moving around. Is there something else that worries you, Clinton?
Yeah, we stink against tight ends. So, I mean, Higbee, and not that Higbee is a world beater. I think he's competent. I think he can be when he's in an offense that's humming, right? The Rams last year with OBJ and Stafford and a competent line. Yeah, much right, exactly. Wow, much better offense last year. Higbee is a above average, at least average tight end. We stink against tight ends. We are just bad against them. So I'll go short this time. Something else that does worry me, Higbee getting open, playing too soft with him and letting him sit down in zones and just move the chain and eat clock and just keep this game close. If this game's close if it's late 3rd quarter, this game is close, I'm gonna be hurting.
Yeah, especially if Neal's hurt. That makes Higbee a little more scary for me. How about you? What do you got, Brandon?
Just that we could see a big Cam Akers game for no reason. That worries me. I'm after watching guys that I don't think should have big games against this defense have big games. It's Cam Akers, and you know what? Maybe that rookie running back too,
Kyron Williams.
I'm not sold that they've figured out. This started out as a problem early on in the season. We thought they solved it for a couple weeks. Now, like to Clinton's point, they don't have a wide receiver that they have to sell out to stop like Devontae Adams. But if the Rams decide that they're going to run the football and be the more physical team, that concerns me.
Okay. Where are we going to go next then, Brandon?
We are going to go to Sheepdog.
Nice.
Sheepdog. Now, something really fun to watch is a skilled sheepdog handle a sheep. And a lost sheep could really use the sheepdog to come find it, bring it back home. What if the Lambs have one dog, right? Is there a player you're worried might get them in line and point them towards success on either side of the ball? We already mentioned Higbee on offense, but maybe there's a guy on defense you're a little concerned about. Could be their sheepdog to get them going again, Brandon.
Well, just from an emotional perspective, I mean, you got Wabi Bagner, who is on that Rams defense, and he's playing out of his mind this year. I really
45.
wish, and maybe not out of his mind, but he's the Bobby that we've known for all these years. And I can't, even though he's in a Rams uniform, I can't find a way to muster any sports hatred in that direction.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that his emotion, wanting to face his former team for the first time since being let go by the Seahawks, I feel like that emotion could help propel that defense. And maybe their defense is able to shut down our offense and keep this game close. And as long as this game's close, I'm going to be concerned.
Clinton, Brandon, he dinged in on the top answer on the board, probably that you might have been thinking of right away. Number 45, the patient ferocity of Bobby Wagner, just waiting there to lead his team against his old team. Is there somebody else? Is there another dog the Lambs might have that you're concerned about since Donald is out, Kupp is out, the guys we fear most are gone?
So my answer is no, there's not another dog on the field. The guy that concerns me is Sean McVay having Carroll's number. And somehow, some way, even with half the team that he thought he'd be going to war with, if you will, proverbially, getting his quarterback, if it's Perkins, ready enough to just do things to keep this game close. And so I do worry that McVay, it's a lost season. He's a prideful man. They're the Super Bowl winners, disgusting enough to say. He's not going to just sit there and not try and beat what is a rival, so it's,
he doesn't have a draft pick to lose for either. So.
Doesn't have a draft pick to lose. He could let it all hang out and trapped rat type thing. Just beware. In fact, when the Raiders scored that tying touchdown last week, I was half convinced they were going to go for 2. I was like, why not hand the ball to Jacobs? I would have went for 2. But so you got all those things. So McVay's ability to still scheme, even with lesser talent, that's the dog I'd be watching for. Now, I don't know how that manifests, but it's going to be like, it if we see it. Hopefully we don't. Okay.
So where are we going next then, Clinton?
Let's just rip the bandit on this one. Starve. Not great.
Starve. That's one of the big fears with the lost sheep. Care about them is that they out there getting starving to death. What if our O-line can starve this Lambs pass rush? Who on the team will be especially responsible? And that's anywhere. You can put it on coaching, you can put it on a particular player, but starving their pass rush. Where do you want to go on this one, Clinton?
I would hope that we don't have to go into like max protect against a team that likely won't have Aaron Donald. And sure, like Leonard Floyd he's very capable.
An overpaid capable.
Well,
guy.
he's quite. His numbers are good, but he's also had like a career of being kind of saddled with an kind of the Scottie Pippen to the MJ. Obviously, Floyd's not a Hall of Famer, and Pippen was, but I hope the analogy or metaphor carries through for folks. So I hope that I hope the answer is not like we have to go into max protect. So I'll just go back into the realm of our rookie tackles and just doing their work, kind of getting back to a little bit earlier season. Even on that last play of the game, our last offensive play, it looked like Max Crosby was supposed to be chipped. Right?
Yeah, maybe in the fourth quarter we stop the one pass rusher though.
Right.
Like just because Abe's doing good throughout the game, when it comes time to fourth quarter, if it's close, can we identify the one guy we want to make sure we double? Maybe.
Right. So I'm hoping there's not a need to max protect against a team that's weak. With that, the sense that if it is tighter than it needs to be, to give the rookies some extra chipping on the edges, whether that's Homer in the backfield or whether that's a tight end that's actually going to actually throw a good chip block off the line. Unfortunately, Fant didn't. Fant did not do the job in that particular instance. So that's the answer. I want the Double Dragon O-line rookies to just get back to a very solid game where we don't even think about them. That would be kind of cool.
Brandon, we don't want these lost little lambs to eat. We definitely don't want their pass rush to eat. If we can keep starving them, who's going to be especially responsible?
Yeah, I think I got to go with Abe Lucas, just because that the one guy that I think that I fear on the offensive line or on the defensive line for the Rams is lining up across from him in Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one guy who I think could end up spoiling it. Now, do we have, I don't know, a Greg Gaines breakout game or a Bobby?
He's good against the run, right? Is it? Yeah, Bobby blitzes. Isn't Gaines good against the run mostly?
Well, but there's Bobby blitzing, but there's also they got Bobby Brown on the defensive line that is waiting in the wings. Maybe if Aaron's not able to play, so that could be just one of these random guys that has success up the middle because Gabe Jackson and Austin Blythe are not playing great this year.
Yeah, okay. Just very real quickly, I knew of the player Billings on the Raiders. I knew of him. I knew he existed. But then, boy, oh boy, did we all know his name at the end of that game, right? Billings just ate us up. So I think, Brandon, maybe it's like if Gaines becomes the next Billings, then we're in some trouble.
Yeah.
I was so excited how well Abe was playing until the fourth quarter. Then he just got demolished. And I don't know if they were helping him early on. I haven't gone back and watched it, but he could be key again this week for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Where else shall we go, Brandon? We have 3 left: injury, shepherd, and counting.
Let's count the sheep.
Count the sheep. Now I'm going to ask you guys to think a little bit here. Here we go. I know this might be right up your line. You both like numbers a little bit. Brandon first. What if you gave us some key numbers that will portend well in this matchup? Now, Brandon already cheated on this one earlier. He gave us the 145. That was an awesome stat. So maybe you just want to stick with that. But what stats do you consider a must for us to keep the Lambs lost?
Okay, I'll go to another number stat that I have for this, and that is Bryce Perkins' passer rating under pressure. And I want to see the Seahawks deliver the maximum amount of pressure. It's the kind of game where you blitz until Bryce Perkins can beat you, and then if he beats you once, you consider that a fluke, and you just keep blitzing him until he can beat you, because his passer rating under pressure so far this season is 5.
He's full panic mode, I think.
His passer rating when you give him no pressure, clean pocket, 96. So that disparity of 91 points tells me that you just have to send everybody against Bryce Perkins.
Under pressure.
Yeah, that's scary, Brandon, actually, because of how I believe we're going to be like sell out to stop the run,
right,
and potentially give him a clean pocket, right?
Yes.
So that you may be more nervous there. I don't like that. Don't appreciate that.
You got a stat for us, Clinton? What you're looking for? Yeah.
So it would portend poorly. I'm going to go to a tried and true, the old TOP, time of possession. If the Rams are, let's just go right down the middle. If the Rams are controlling the ball for more than 30 minutes in this game, it's going to be close, and that will be stupid. Not to be so, just non-analytical about it and be emotional about it. And with that, that's where I'm at right now, fellas. Like, if the Rams end up with 31 minutes and 37 seconds of TOP, then crap went wrong. Then they extended drives. They moved the stick. They got penalties in their favor. This should be a 35-25 game in our favor with the ball. That's one I'm going to be watching for. So if we see it, let's look at the half. Let's see where are we at the half and start to measure that, because that to me could spell a game that's way too close for comfort in a situation that doesn't call for it.
Very good. All right. 2 left: injuries or the shepherd.
Well, I'm in a salty mood. I'll keep on ripping the Band-Aid here. Let's go injury,
which is should be a huge aspect in this game. We've already talked about it a lot because it's hard to avoid. Clinton, what if the Hawks can take advantage of the Lambs' injury issues? Who can benefit most in this matchup?
Okay, I'm going to take this to I answered different ways about what I think Pete's going to want to do. Hammer the ball, establish a run, sell out to stop the run, all those things. If we can do some of those things well, especially if we could just prove, I want them to prove they could run the ball early, kind of just to satiate Pete so that we can open it back up and throw against a pretty sus, DB room also. Yeah, they got Ramsey. Yeah, they got Troy Hill. They're not the Rams of old, right?
They're way worse against the pass than against the run.
This is what I'm saying. So I'd like us to open it up, and I'm gonna go back to the concept that that our wide receivers actually could have kind of a surprising upside day. That'd be quite nice. So I'll just leave it in that kind of that easy area of we're not expecting big days from Lockett, but all of a sudden Lockett has two touchdowns again. Like that'd be a nice consequence. I'm not sure we get there, but I'm rather hopeful that we do.
So the injury you're saying is going to be that we can exploit most is Aaron Donald. It sounds like, right?
Yeah. It all adds up. This team's really dinged. And yes, like if Donald's not there to do his normal things, then let's just let Geno do his normal things. I 1000% know in my brain that if they let Geno just throw the ball a bit more last game, as opposed to being stubborn with the run, I think we would have won that game going away a couple times. So it's so do that. But to do that, I do think Carroll is going to want to scratch that itch and prove that we can run the ball a bit. That's the part where I think it gets dicey if we can't do it early.
Okay, Brandon, a big issue for lost sheep is they can get hurt. They're dumb. They're vulnerable out there. This team is losing and they're hurt. Who can benefit most in this matchup?
The one guy I think that can benefit most for the Seahawks is Bruce Irvin against this Rams defense, because I look at that Rams left tackle, AJ Arcuri.
Oh, man.
And in only 17 pass blocking snaps against the Chiefs, he gave up 5 pressures.
That's pretty bad.
Now, no sacks or hits, but a lot of pressure. And again, I go back to my previous answer about Perkins. If you're getting pressure on him, he's got a passer rating of 5. So if Bruce Irvin, I don't need sacks. I don't necessarily need quarterback hits. I need pressure, and he can get it against AJ Arcuri.
And nobody went with our DBs because they got like nobody left in the receiver room. So, but
Van Jefferson's good.
He's okay. Yeah, that's true.
He's not.
Kupp's gone. Robinson's gone.
It definitely does. Just to chime in a little bit with AJ Arcuri, to know a little bit about the fella. Michigan State. So he's a rookie this year. He's an older rookie, 25 years old. Probably the COVID year affected him. Looks like I think he was drafted in the 7th round, 261st overall, from what I could tell. So we're talking about a late, 7th round pick starting in the NFL. So I think Brandon's got to, really pull something out there that hopefully his 5 rushes allowed in 17 stays somewhat close to that, because those are disastrous numbers.
Yeah, I mean, guys that can't block, receivers that mostly can't get open. I hope if any day it could be a good day for our pass rush, we might expect it would be this day. All right, last one. This one goes right to Brandon. What does the lost sheep need most? They need their shepherd. They need their shepherd to come find them, to help them get through, get away from losing. Both of these shepherds have been losing. Ours have lost 2 in a row. Theirs have lost 5 in a row. Brandon, what if team strategy is big in this game? What will coaching on either side need to do to be successful in this matchup? If the coach is going to say one thing we're going to do well, or maybe it's something we've already mentioned, you want to reinforce or add to it, what do you got, Brandon, from our shepherds?
I go back to what Clinton said about how Pete Carroll is going to want to establish the run. I still think that the best option for the Seahawks team is to let Geno throw on early downs and allow that to open up the running game. Okay. So strategically, I think if Carroll can stick with that on offense and just trust Geno to make the right decisions, maybe check to running plays if in early downs they start to not show that they're stacking up to stop the run, then I'd like to see them take that approach against this Rams team and not be so concerned that, okay, we've just got to hammer the rock against the Rams early and not stop until we have success. You go to your playmakers, you get the ball to Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and then if you can work in some Ken Walker, then you do it that way.
I'm in, Brandon. Sounds like a good strategy. Call up Pete. Tell him this is the strategy. Let's do it. What do you got, Clinton, strategy wise, from the Shepherds in this match?
Yes, I think I'll just leap off of what Brandon said, because I don't think it's too different. And I'll throw a little stat in there to play Brandon's game, coming in with the smarts and the research. Look at him. And one of the things that I noticed, I really hate when teams run on 2nd and 10. Can't stand it. It's like, hey, you committed to passing on 1st and 10, and now you want to run the ball. Like, we've done less and less of that this year, which has been really, really cool to see. So let's keep doing that. And the stat that I want to throw out there is that currently Geno Smith has the 3rd highest completion percentage for a quarterback of all time in any given season, ever. Now the season's not over. I realize that, but it's like Drew Brees in like whatever it was, 2017, 2018. He got close to 75%. It's Drew Brees at number 2, and then Drew Brees at number 4. And Geno Smith is the 3rd ever highest completion percentage, to say percentage again. Yeah. Like when we ran the ball on 2nd and 5 in overtime, I wanted to throw my phone through the TV because nearly 75% of the time we're completing passes with Geno, and he's not dinking and dunking. He's getting chunk plays. He's going downfield. He's doing everything. He's using the entire field. So that's just to glom onto what Brandon said. I hope we can establish enough of the run, scratch the itch, and let Geno go do his thing and not get mired in having to prove he can run the ball against a team that does not deserve to be treated that way. So that is all to say.
Side? Anything on McVay's side you think that he has to do to be successful?
I don't want to give any notes to McVay.
Oh, especially not great ideas like what we're doing here for
Yeah, no, I just think quickly it was getting Perkins, like if Perkins is at a 5 under duress, then do what you got to do there, right? That's max protect, that's roll him out. He's a mobile quarterback a little bit anyway. Let him do those things. But I expect him to do that. I expect McVay to come with a plan to make a 30th to 40th to 50th best QB in the league look competent against us because others have done it before. And that's the reality.
Hey, Sean McVay, just go empty backfield, run 4 wides against this defense. Just do that. Throw to the left side. Nobody even tried throwing to the left side last time. You need to test Tariq Woolen.
Drop gains into coverage, put him against Tyler Lockett in the slot. I think that
idea.
Great choice.
Lots of good ideas for the Rams there.
Okay, gentlemen. Now that we've given them some thoughts on how they could defeat us. Last week, once again, nobody predicted properly. So Clinton's still up 5-3. Hopefully we can do better here on our prediction time to finish out the show. I would have predicted entirely wrong. So I'm glad I wasn't on the record for that. Clinton will go first. Your wish this week, your what if Super Hawk. Who do you expect to star, or who do you wish would star in this matchup? And what do you got for a score?
All right. I am going to change my score on the fly here. And a wish is a bit emotional, right? So my wish is that Eugene Smith has 3 touchdowns through the air. That's my wish. Cool. I wanted to buck that trend of like that. You don't need, we could score that way and it's A-okay.
I love it.
Yeah. So I want Geno with 3 touchdowns. That'd be really sweet. The score, I think this is close, unfortunately. 24-20 Seahawks. And we are pulling our hair out come the start of the fourth quarter, middle of the fourth quarter. 24-20. We do get the W, but we are like, we're on pins and needles.
All right, Brandon, we don't do well against this team historically, but a lot of those players are out of the picture other than the coaches. But our team, I think, is a lot better team. I mean, it looks like we're a healthier team. But what do you got for your wish and your score in this one?
My wish is I'll go back to Bruce Irvin and for him to have 5 pressures and get home once. If he doesn't get a sack, then at least 2 quarterback hits. But if Bruce Irvin is having a good day, then I really like our chances against the Rams. And I'm going to say for the score, 21 Seahawks, 15 Rams.
20. So we're both winning by a score.
It's within the point spread, which I noticed that the Seahawks in LA, last I checked, were favored by 7.5 points. Again, this is what concerns me.
Wow. At the beginning of the season, it would have been the reverse if you picked this game before the
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's just a decent point right there, Phil, right? Hey, we're 6-5 and the beginning of the season type feeling. Yeah, we all want more now. Like the three of us want the playoffs, right? I know there's some others who are giving up on that, and well, they're just I can't. If people are dumb, they're dumb. I can't stop them from being dumb. With that, the Rams won the Super Bowl last year, and they were supposed to run away with the division again. Like some people had the Niners, maybe competing, but really it was the Rams. And so we're facing a team that not only doesn't have a very very worthy team right now on the field, but they also sold out their future. They don't have a lot of picks, To that end,
the one thing that I guess you could take away, that if the Seahawks were to lose to the Rams, at least it's providing the Broncos less competition for the top draft pick in the top 5.
True.
That helps our draft status.
We just saw that with the Raiders, right? The Raiders elevated above the Broncos with that victory, and then the Panthers
taking the win to take the L in the draft position. Yeah.
There's so much on this game. Like if we're gonna do the playoff thing, we got to win this game. If we're not, I mean, who cares if we lose this game? It just helps our draft status. Doubly helps. But I'm gonna be in total different point of view if we don't pull this game off. This is a big decider for me. Like
playoffs
it feels like
still
a
in play. Playoffs
feels
still
like
in play if they get the L this week, but it does
feels like a crossroads.
Yeah, it does feel like an important game to win.
And I'll say it this way too, like, sometimes people are like, if we don't win by 2 scores, like they put that caveat on there.
Not against McVay.
I don't care. I don't care. Like win by a half point if that was possible. It doesn't. Just go into SoFi, get out with the W, and forget the game ever existed, right? Just healthy, get the W, get back on the bus and charter your flight home. One other thing I do want to point out before we cut it, we got Ravens versus Broncos. That's pretty cool, right? So obviously go Ravens there. Giants are playing the Commanders, so I think we root for anything but a tie, probably root for the Commanders because we beat the Giants, right? So I think the roulette wheel there, or if you're looking at the best odds, I think it would say root for the Commanders. That brings the Giants down a peg, and then we could be tied with the Giants, and then we'd have the tiebreaker straight up. I think we're Commanders fans.
I'm win the NFC West fan. Like beat the Rams, then beat the Panthers, then you beat the Niners, then you beat the Rams again. And then we don't even have to worry about all these tie-breaking scenarios of what other fans of other teams we need to be.
Fair enough. And I do love the idea that a lot of these games matter to the Seahawks because it's going to matter to the Broncos draft pick, which is ours. Well, even Jags Lions, like that game matters to us now.
Ooh,
that's go freaking Lions. That matters to us, which is so there's all these little Packers Bears. Go Bears.
No, the Lions game doesn't matter because it's the Rams draft pick.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
You're talking about the Jags, or is that what you're worried about?
I'm saying that, I don't want the Jags to. I want the Lions.
The Lions pick is because of the Lambs. So
that's why they're in the top 5 right now, is because of the Rams. Terrible.
But they're only 4-7, so I don't want them falling back behind the Broncos, right? That's kind of where I was positioning that. And plus the Jaguars are 4-7 too. So I guess that, half dozen the other right there. But it's just kind of neat. There's lots of go Steelers. Knock the Falcons out of this picture completely. This is all these games matter between our team, between the picks, and between the jockeying with the potential playoffs. And then there's just some good games. Chief Bengals, that's a freaking awesome game. Dolphins 49ers.
Yeah.
Did I show you guys my
the one
Merino?
that I'm interested in?
I got a Merino tattoo. I got this in 1983. So it's lifelong Dolphins fan. So it's just gonna be a fun NFL week is what I'm trying to get to. It's gonna be a fun NFL week. Almost every single game matters to the Seahawks in some way. And that's kind of cool. We're Seahawks fans. It's a lovely time. And in about a week from now, today's Wednesday when we're recording this, I'll be on a plane out to Michigan. And then Sunday morning, I'll be on a plane out to Seattle. And I'll be meeting Brandon and Adam at Lumen Field. Any Seahawks fans who want to, come say hi, especially if you're in the flock, let us know in the Discord. I'll send this out again. Let us know in the Facebook Ring of Honor. Certainly want to meet up for a libation or two pre or post game and hang out with y'all because it's going to be a lot of fun.
And I think with that,
what if we say go Hawks?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.